them that Jesus Christ married Mary Magdalene and impregnated her. Now, this is before he even went on the cross. That's what the ultimate purpose of this movie is. The premise is that Mary Magdalene stood pregnant with his baby as he was crucified, and that she was whisked away to safety immediately after the crucifixion. Later, as the story goes, Mary Magdalene gave birth to a girl, and the alleged physical daughter of Jesus. Subsequently, the girl grew up and married and gave birth to another girl. This trend of having girls and girls and girls supposedly continued on with girls birthing other girls until the present time that we're living in. The people who supposedly protected this so-called holy bloodline formed a secret society called the Priory of Zion. And that's spelled S-I-O-N. And during the Crusades of the Middle Ages, they formed a visible but secretive military called the Knights Templar. Now, the Knights Templar are basically like the beginnings of the Freemasons, okay? And a lot of the secret societies we have today now. Here, let it be noted that these organizations are very real and do exist. They are currently hiding and operating from the highest orders of Freemasonry in the York Rite of the Lodge. Now, Barbara Ahu has a lot of good research on the Priory of Zion, if you want to check that out. It's P-R-I-O-R-Y of Zion, S-I-O-N, if you want to check that out further. And see that this is something that, see, I've known about this for a long time. Now it's all coming to pass. The original book that came out that got everybody into this was a book called Holy Blood, Holy Grail. And it talks about what they call the Merovingian bloodline. Now, this is this Merovingian bloodline that they said is a direct descendant of Christ. So, this is, again, blasphemy of the highest order. If this were to be true, we can just throw our Bibles in the trash because they're not worth the paper they're printed on. It's a lie straight from the pit of hell, though. But how many people? I mean, they're reading a perverted Bible anyway. They're reading an NIV that has 64,098 less words than a King James, who had translators on that committee. One was a rabid lesbian named Virginia Mollencott, who was into goddess worship and you know, dressing like a butch lesbian. That's who's on the translation committee for your NIV Bible. Then you got two occultists named Westcott and Hort that gave you your Bible originally through the Revised Version upon it spawned the NIV. So it's perverted. The word's been polluted. Now, going back to this, the 12th Grand Master of the Priory of Zion was Leonardo da Vinci. He was the 12th Grand Master of the Priory of Zion. Who built secret codes into his artistic works pertaining to the secret Holy Bloodline and Holy Grail. This is what Leonardo da Vinci did, and that's why it's called the Da Vinci Code, because we're trying to crack the code on Leonardo da Vinci's paintings. He was the 12th Grand Master of the Priory of Zion. Here, let it be noted, now this is unbelievable, I didn't even know this. Here, let it be noted that most people who have searched history regarding this are under the impression that the Holy Grail is the sacred cup or the chalice used by Jesus during the Lord's Supper. That's what I thought it was, but I was wrong. Here's what it is. What is this Holy Blood, Holy Grail? What is this? This is, however, an intended diversion. In other words, they propagated this lie so you'd believe it, but it's not really what the case is. Because if people knew the truth, they would be offended by it. Even the unsaved would be offended by it, most likely. Because here's what it really means. However, this is an intended diversion. This is where the connection with witchcraft comes in the Holy Grail. In witchcraft, a chalice or a cup represents the female genitals of the priestess. Okay? The male genitals of the priest are represented by a ceremonial knife called athame. Okay, that's what the name of the knife is, athame. This is what they'll use to kill human sacrifices at high satanic levels. They'll use the knife, the athame, to kill the human sacrifice, whether it's a baby or a grown human or an animal, and then they'll drain the blood into the chalice. Okay? The chalice is representative of the female genitals. The knife is representative of the male. Okay? Is that lighthearted and politically correct? No. No, it's not, but it's the facts. And the Bible talks about in Galatians 4:16, am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? So anyway, let's go further. When the knife is placed into the chalice, under the light of a full moon, the witches believe that the fertility power from the astral plane, now this is all New Age jargon, fertility meaning ability to conceive, from the astral plane is drawn down from the full or ovulating moon. This is how witches think now. Christians don't think this way, but this is how witches think. This is how they practice their religion. Okay. Thus, the Grail is not a literal cup, but the reproductive part of the female anatomy of the supposed physical descendants of Jesus Christ. So it would be Mary Magdalene's reproductive organs. And then when she has a girl, it would be her that's the Grail. That's the holy bloodline that's trying to preserve this bloodline, this called the Merovingian bloodline, that Jesus Christ supposedly started. What could be more blasphemous than that? I don't really know of anything. I don't know of anything that could be worse than that. But you got a boatload of Christians buying into it and paying money to go see the movie. You know? So, let's go further. This is rank blasphemy, obviously. The Prior of Zion and the Knights Templar believe that there was and always will be a female descendant of Jesus until finally a male child is born into the bloodline. That's where it all ends up. There's been female child after female child after female child born for hundreds and hundreds of years. Since 2000, 33 BC, when supposedly Mary Magdalene was impregnated right before Jesus Christ went up on the cross. Been all these females descendants through the years. What's the ultimate end of this? Until finally a male child will be born into this bloodline. This male child is to be the ruler of the descendants, is to be the ruler of the world. We who are Christians would understand this to be the Antichrist himself. This is where this is all leading. This is why I said all of this, because it's very important in the times we're moving into to understand the deception that's coming. It's all here. I didn't even really fully understand the deception until I read this today, last night, because it's becoming totally obvious. So if we look at this further, let's see here. If we look at this a little bit further, will the two sequels to the Da Vinci Code movie bring millions of people to the very Antichrist himself? Sure they're gonna. People have already said, we want more, we want more. 13th best movie ever been introduced in a particular weekend. The church is even in there watching this movie. A lot of the church. Not all of it, but a lot of the church is even in there. They're saying we want more. These Da Vinci Code 2 and 3 movies are going to bring people to the Antichrist themselves. See, supposedly the Da Vinci Code movie has all of this, again, hidden knowledge, this Gnostic knowledge, which is the result of really the start of all cults in the world are started from Gnostic, hidden knowledge religion, of knowledge. People always want hidden knowledge because it makes them feel good about themselves, and they know something that the next guy doesn't know, and then knowledge they say is power, and they can use this power, and unfortunately in this case it's witchcraft that they're using in order to go forward with, whatever plans that they've got. So what's going to happen is the Da Vinci Code movie will bring millions of people to the very Antichrist himself, who is brought into public view and presented as the, quote, true Christ by a physical descendant and as a rightful world leader of the New Age. Time will tell. We must also understand that the Roman Catholic, now this is very interesting, this next part I'm going to be reading, because I had no idea. And quite honestly, I had never looked at scriptures in this way until Pastor David Meyer had brought this out, about this next part that we're going to be talking about, because his newsletters are just so amazing to me, where he gets this information, how he ties it all together. Moving into this next part, we must also understand that the Roman Catholic Church has always secretly fought the Priory of Zion and the Knights